Welcome back to another episode of Who Is on Crusader Shores, the show where we delve into the lore and backstory of your favourite characters from films, video games and books. In this episode we'll be delving deeper into the story of Exar Kun, the Dark Lord of the Sith. Exar Kun was a Jedi Knight who would eventually succumb to the dark side and assume the title of Dark Lord of the Sith. Kun, a human male, was taken as an apprentice under the Jedi Master Vodo Siosk Bass, who was a respected member of the Order. During his days of being an apprentice and years of training, Kun would come across forbidden knowledge in the archives of the Sith and their history. Kun had already manifested characteristics of the Sith, as he would be quick to get angry and had heightened emotions from the beginning. He was also arrogant and extremely confident in his own abilities, perhaps overly confident and sure of himself. After discovering such history, Kun had a burning desire to learn more and was extremely curious about the Sith and their history. After being unable to kill this desire, he would set out on a personal quest to learn as much about the Sith as he possibly could from what remained of their history. His search would lead him to Onderon, a planet that had once been ruled by a powerful Lord of the Sith known as Freedon Nadd. Kun was accompanied by a pair of followers of Nadd's teachings who would help him to discover the tomb of the fallen Sith Lord on Onderon's moon, Deek Sun. When Kun explored the tomb, he was faced with the spirit of Nadd himself, who spoke beyond his grave to Kun, seeing an opportunity to perhaps regain some sort of physical form. Nadd, whom Kun trusted as a source of knowledge, instructed Kun to visit Korriban, the ancient Sith homeworld. He had planned to purposefully injure Kun enough to taint him with the dark side, only offering to heal him of his wounds if he would accept the dark side teachings. Exar Kun would then visit Yavin 4, another place with a strong Sith history. On the planet, a subspecies of the ancient Sith species known as the Masasai, a primitive race, were enslaved by Kun, forcing them to build temples across the world. Sometime after, now fully corrupted by the dark side, Kun had no use for Nadd, whom he had never fully trusted. He banished his spirits, learning of the identities of other individuals who had learnt from Nadd in the process. Kun saw the other apprentices of Nadd, Satal and Elimo Kito, nobles of the planet Tita, who had begun the Krath cult and conquered their star system. Kun viewed these apprentices as a large threat, and seek to destroy them to eliminate such a threat. On the planet Empress Teta, Kun would come across qel-droma, a Jedi whose master had been slain during a Krath attack and had been hiding in plain sight in the group to have his revenge. Ulic had been seduced by the dark side himself, and although he duelled Kun, their duel did not last very long, as it was ended by the emerging spirit of another dead Sith, Mog Ragnos. Ragnos would tell them that they were fit to assume the title of Sith Lords, with Kun becoming the Dark Lord of the Sith and qel-droma becoming his apprentice. Together they would prophesy the return of a golden age of the Sith and an era of prosperity for their kind. They would become allies with the Mandalorian clans and Krath remnants and start a war with the Republic and Jedi in 3996 BBY. At the beginning of the war, Exar Kun journeyed to Ossus, a Republic world that housed a Jedi temple. He seeked out the library and murdered its keeper of antiquities, Odan-Ur. He then seized the Sith holocron that resided there, taking it into his possession. The few members of the library that remained, a group of Jedi followers, joined Kun and returned with him to Yavin 4, the place where Kun would then access the holocron and use its power to corrupt them with the dark side and its teachings and reshape his order into a Brotherhood of the Sith, taking them in as his new members. After their corruption was complete, Kun would then scatter the members across the galaxy, ordering them to slay their previous masters and cause mayhem. During this process, he ventured to the capital of the Republic, Coruscant, to rescue his apprentice qel-droma, who was in captivity due to attacking the planet, disregarding Kun's advice. Kun entered the hall of the Senate building during Droma's war crime trial and murdered Sidrona, the current Supreme Chancellor, setting his apprentice free. As he left the building, he was confronted by Vodo Siosk Bass, his former master. He was unfortunate in being unable to convert his former master and had to resort to another plan, revealing his newfound intentions and drawing a double-sided lightsaber erupting into red flames and two powerful blades shooting out the sides. He slew Bass in a short duel. Elimo Kito was a person responsible for the capture of his apprentice, and Kun was very distrustful of her intentions and could not forgive for what she had done. He ultimately decided to kill her also by manipulating her into causing a giant supernova in the Kron cluster of the planet that would destroy Ossus itself. During the Jedi's evacuation of the planet, Kun and his apprentice entered the Great Jedi Library, ransacking it and looting as much precious items as they could, as well as ancient Jedi treasures. Although Kun got out of the temple with a great deal of looted items, qel-droma was caught off guard in a duel, killing his brother and then being taken as a prisoner, and ultimately followed by severing his connection to the Force. Disheartened and upset with the death, Droma switching sides and joining the Jedi, he led them to Kun's base on Yavin 4. In the following battle, Kun refused to go down without a fight, using an ancient Sith ritual to let go of his spirit from his physical form, so he could cause havoc throughout the whole galaxy. He didn't fully succeed in this plan, but the ritual had worked as he had intended, and the Jedi thought he had died, but his spirit was forever trapped on Yavin 4, or at least for the next several millennia. In 11 ABY, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker created a training ground on the planet for Jedi, building his new order after the destruction of the old one at the Empire's hands. After thousands of years isolated on the planet, Kun tried to contact Skywalker's apprentices to do his bidding, turning Kip Duron, a Padawan in the Academy, to the dark side and severely wounding Luke. But the other apprentices banded together, assisted by the dead shade of Vodo Sios Bass, Kun's former master who he killed, and banished Kun's spirit, finally ending his schemes forever. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you like this video, there are much more on this channel. If you want to see future videos like this, feel free to get the discussion started in the comments below by leaving your feedback and suggestions for future episodes. If you enjoyed the content, please help out the channel by subscribing for weekly Star Wars lore and news, and so that you don't miss another episode of the show. Thanks for watching.